This isn't gonna actually go into recording. But mine's probably gonna be a few seconds behind because you said 3, 2, 1, go, and there's a little bit of latency for, you know,
sound. Yeah, I know.
Right. So we're gonna start.
Well, maybe that'll make it into the cut.
It could be a blooper at the.
Why not? Why not?
It could be a blooper for the end if you want. All right.
All right.
So we're back. It is
After
September 10th. On the day of this recording, I last recorded my solo. I think it was the 6th of July, which makes it over 2 months.
About 2 months.
Yeah. We should have probably planned out the last couple months of our summer a little bit better.
Well, it's the whole thing of you going back to Houston to study and all that. So everything was a little bit hectic.
Yeah, everything kind of got busy near the end, so we didn't have a chance to record. But we're here. We haven't given up.
Yeah.
Yet. We'll see how long this lasts. It's made it into the school year. This is my 4th week. This would be your 3rd week starting already?
Yeah, I'm starting my 3rd week. You're a week ahead.
Wow. It's actually going pretty fast. I feel like I just got here.
That's true. Even for me, I mean, it's already the 3rd week. I don't know. I guess the way our schedules are, because my classes don't start till noon, so it feels a little later in the day. So the day goes by faster than expected.
Yeah. I think the best part about college so far is my roommate, who is actually pretty cool. I don't know why people always talk about having awful roommates. My roommate was alright. We had to do this roommate agreement where basically we had to set rules for each other. And so the person in charge was like, so what about cleanliness? We're like, I don't know, doesn't matter. Alright, loud noises, no problem. Guests, no problem. So it's like, I guess like, if you have a bad time at college, it's probably your fault or your professors. Like, it's real easy to enjoy college. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm living at home. I'm still in Bronzeville. So, I mean, it's a different experience for me, obviously, right? But even if I have a bad time, I know it's going to be either me because it's my fault or not necessarily the professor's fault, but because
Well, it could be the professor's fault.
Because yeah.
There are...
The majority of it will be my fault.
Oh, yeah. But there are such thing as bad professors.
Oh, of course.
There's just that to think about. So, yeah, I am in Houston right now, which means this is the first time we're not recording face-to-face. We're doing this virtually, which is pretty fun, pretty interesting.
Well, Skype, on and off.
It took a little longer to set this up than I think either one of us anticipated. So,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
All right. How's your football team going?
U of H.
Is
the Cougars. We are killing it. We didn't have a very good first half against Rice, which kind of disappointed everyone.
It's only been 2 weeks.
What's up? Well, yeah, 2 weeks, but okay. So, if you were paying attention, like in the off season, Khalil Tate, the quarterback for Arizona, who we just destroyed, was one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. All right, we limited him and his team to 18 points, and they only scored those 18 points when we had our second defensive unit out. So, I mean, Ed Oliver is going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. Our star lineman, linebacker, defensive end.
He's going to win the Heisman?
Yeah, everyone. Well, I mean, everyone here at U of H says so, but him and Khalil Tate, the quarterback for Arizona, like all the sports pundits were saying we're the top to win the Heisman Trophy this year. We're some of the top to win the Heisman Trophy. Khalil Tate's not going to win it because he's had 2 very bad games, which leaves Ed Oliver and whoever else I haven't heard of yet. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's actually projected to go number 1 in the draft so far, Ed Oliver, which would be pretty killer.
keep in mind it's only been
man.
2 weeks. So, I mean, yeah, but you gotta. It's still early in the season.
Well, yeah, I just wanna gloat a little bit. So there's nothing wrong about being presumptuous with your football team.
True.
So
I mean, I expect the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl every year,
oh, okay.
but they let me
Come on.
down.
Let's not get a little let's not get a little ahead of ourselves. Man, but did they disappoint yesterday? I was I was watching the game and I was browsing the game thread on Reddit for the Cowboys, and everyone was just,
Okay.
man, Dak is the worst, and I can't believe we let go of Bryant. We should have kept him, and we should have kept Romo. And I just put in this thread, people overreacting to everything. All right,
Yeah.
and then
I don't know.
in the end,
I
okay, and then
what?
in the end, everyone was like, man, we have a chance, we can do this, and I was like, yeah, we can. And then we lost, and I just had to make sure I put it out. It wasn't Dak's fault. Dak might have been somewhat at fault that we lost, but the O line is not what it was when Romo had the 13-3 season.
Keep in mind, Travis Frederick is also
Ex-
out. Now we have a rookie in
yeah,
there,
exactly.
so the O line is not what it
Yeah,
was.
I put it in the. I commented that I was like, I'm not saying Dak had a good game. In fact, he had a pretty bad game, but I said Romo would be hospitalized playing with this O line.
Yeah, another. What was it? Bruised rib, broken rib, or something
Yeah,
like that.
that would have happened
I
instantly.
mean, yeah. Well, Romo decided to retire, so that's fine. He retired.
Yeah.
So did Witten. I don't know how I feel about the Des Bryant decision. It's kind of mixed
Yeah.
feelings, but because Dak doesn't necessarily throw to a primary receiver like him. He does more slot,
Yeah.
so that's Cole Beasley's spot. So I'm expecting Cole Beasley to get way more receptions this season.
Yeah. I was expecting that too, but he had um he had a not so good game yesterday.
I didn't get a chance to see it all because obviously I had to leave early,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Beasley
But
had an alright game, but that could have thrown balls a little bit better to him, and that it would have just been a lot better.
all right, well, that covers the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so where do you want to go from here?
Um, I don't know. The first topic you have on our show notes seems intriguing. You wanna go ahead and give us a synopsis on what you might think this is?
Yeah, okay. So there's a whole lot of, well, it ties into the second with the Brett Kavanaugh
Yeah.
hearings. A lot of it is that is the Constitution a living document or not, and should it be susceptible to change with like because it was written in 1787. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. But it was written one of those 2
Future
years.
history teacher right
I'm pretty
here.
sure it's 87. I know, right? Okay, it was written with the Constitutional Congress, so convention.
Oh my
I'm so
goodness.
sorry. Anyways, so yeah.
You better not cut any of
so
this
they're
out,
saying how
just so that whoever listens can
Oh,
be
of course not.
disappointed in you, just as I am right now.
yeah, okay. So anyways, because it was written so long ago, they're saying that it should change. It should need to change. That we need to have another constitutional convention, and so that they could write out another one because that's the only one that we've done, aside from the Articles of Confederation, which was a mess.
Yeah, to say the least.
But yeah, to say the least. But they're saying because with the times and how society is now. I don't know. I just want to get your input on that because
Okay.
I don't think it should change necessarily. Like the premise on what it's written
Yeah.
for is perfect. I think that's a great way to have our government. And if we want change, well, we need to amend
Exactly.
it. But after that, it's like, well, I just want to. What are your thoughts on that first?
All right. So, I mean, in growing up in school, like they teach it as a living document, but they teach it as a document living in that a living document in that it can be amended. So like these people
Yeah.
that say it needs to catch up with the times, you know, catching up with the times. I mean, they're the same people that'll say the Second Amendment is for muskets. You know,
That's true.
they'll say,
I mean, and a lot of it. I think a lot of it is because like you don't really see Congress getting a lot of stuff done. They are getting stuff done. I'll give them. Not it's not what you
yeah,
see because a lot of it is just how bad government is and all of that. But they do get some stuff done. But that's what the founding fathers wanted to happen. They wanted to have that collision between everyone in the government, so that way they kind of stay out of our way and that we're able just to live life.
yeah, and
That's how I see
exactly.
it.
The Constitution wasn't written to necessarily to say what the government can and should do. It limits it. Like I think the
Yeah,
most important amendment is the 10th, which always gets ignored, which is anything that's not stated in the Constitution is reserved for the states. Like
yeah,
it's
and
not the Constitution doesn't say the government can do this and then do everything else. I mean, people have interpreted it that way with the enumerated clause and saying that well, just
okay,
the Constitution can't explicitly write out every little thing that the federal government can do, but the 10th Amendment does also exist. So I think that that in and of itself would kind of conflict with that section in the Constitution. But but as for
yeah,
living, if it, I admit there are things that were not good about the first part of it. I mean, case in point, slavery. But they didn't wait. There wasn't a Supreme Court case. I'm pretty sure if there was, that would have been quite an uprising, as it already was with the Civil War. But the Constitution was amended. I mean, same thing with
yeah,
with voting. I mean, women's suffrage was added through amendment. It wasn't some interpretation by Supreme Court. So, is it living? I mean, depends what you consider it to be living by. I mean, if it's living because the Supreme Court says, oh well, that was this is the way to read it, but that's how people would read it in the past. This is the new way to read it. Or living because it can change, like living organisms can change. Constitution can change through amendment.
yeah. I mean, and if people want to, I guess, living as in to replace it, if they want to replace it, well, then they should vote in the people that they want that will do that. Because personally, I think the Constitution is fine the way it is. Of course, slavery aside and all of that, but premise of
Yeah.
it, the premise of the Constitution works in as that the government is too busy dealing with itself, with the checks and balances, that we're able to do our own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's because I was with we were talking about it in my U.S. government class, and and my Texas government. For some reason, this came up. I mean, Texas, the U.S., whatever. Anyways, but yeah, it came up about the Texas Constitution and how it's been rewritten and it has so many amendments, and it's I think it's the second longest constitution. Yeah, it is. It's the second longest constitution, state
Which one,
constitution.
Texas?
Let me clarify. It's this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the second
Texas
longest.
has like 60 something amendments, I think.
It's somewhere
Like
along those lines. But yeah, it's a
so
really
many.
long constitution. But we were talking about in how they were talking about the different amendments and the different times it was rewritten and everything that they were trying to pass in in Texas and how and should it need to be rewritten and can't they shorten it and all of that. So that just brought up my thought on the Constitution, on the U.S. Constitution, on whether or not it needs to be rewritten or not. Which personally, I don't think it does.
And I mean, just even with the Texas one, if it were to be rewritten in a way that the current amendments of the Texas Constitution are applied, it'd still be pretty lengthy. I mean, it wouldn't be as long as it is now because I think there's some amendments that repeal others, so you'll just get rid of those in the rewriting. But it's not like it would be shortened down to 2.5 pages.
It has, real quick, the Texas Constitution has 670.
Oh, 600. Okay.
Amendments.
I knew it was a six something, but I thought 600 was just too outlandish of a number. But apparently that's correct. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just checked the Texas.gov.
Yeah.
And like.
And that's
and all
it has so many because the Texas Constitution is amended through referendum. So they just put it on the ballot and hear population vote. Not like a super complicated system that the American Constitution has.
Like the 2/3 and all of that.
Which has only resulted in 27, and one of them was just the repealing of another.
Yeah, the repealing of the prohibition.
Yeah. And then one of them was had to do with raises for the Senate or Congress, which is an interesting thing to put in the Constitution, but you know, it got enough votes. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, that's how it got passed.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I don't know. But okay, so Brett Kavanaugh, have you kept up with anything of the hearings?
So, not as well as I wanted to. I actually did want to discuss this before you even put it in the notes. All I know is that there were a handful of Democrats, and I know Democrats because I subscribe to the conservative subreddit. I don't know anything about what the Republicans said or asked them, but I know some of the Democrats basically took their time of questioning as a chance to basically get angry at Trump. Like that's
that's what a lot of it was.
That's the extent of my knowledge for the Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
Okay, so the simple summary would be Democrats went crazy, but a more somewhat detailed would be, okay, so let me, this is from what I remember. So they started the chairman of the committee that does the hearings. What's that? The Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, Senate Judiciary Committee.
Yeah, okay. So at the start of the hearing, day one, he's giving the opening remarks, and Kamala Harris, senator from California,
the best senator there is,
immediately she basically begins her presidential campaign on that there's so many documents that have not been opened or have not been read, so many pages of so many documents that have not been read, that we should not have this hearing because we need to be able to read them all. And if anyone has a chance,
documents
YouTube
about what?
That Brett Kavanaugh has, because when you get nominated, you have to submit your judicial, as a judge. You write, you know how you decide on a case, and then you have to write your opinion about it, or on why you judge the way you did.
Yeah, the opinion or dissent.
Case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's the correct term. Sorry. So yeah, so he turned over, I think Ted Cruz said somewhere over 500,000. yeah, 500,000, so about 500,000 pages of what he did.
Wow.
Of all his opinions, whatever that term is, I can't remember. What's that term?
Opinions. Well, if it's in the winning case, it's opinion. If it's in the losing, it's dissent. So you just,
anyways,
it's just opinion if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So he submitted like 500,000 of those, and Ted Cruz was saying how, I believe the past couple judges, like Brett Kavanaugh submitted 500,000, which is more than the past so many judges. I can't remember the number. I believe it was the past 5. I believe it's the past 5 judges, or the past 5 nominations. Don't quote me on this. Google Ted Cruz, Brett Kavanaugh, and on YouTube, or Google it or search it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to get the actual facts of it. But he ends up saying how Brett Kavanaugh submitted way more than anyone else has, and so like that, just those like 4,000 pages that are missing should not necessarily decide the case or should stall the case. And so Kamala Harris, going back to the opening remarks, Kamala Harris keeps on saying that they need to see it, and then but the chairman, the head of the committee, is basically just ignoring her and just going on with his opening remarks. And then so that goes down, and then they have, of course, the questioning. Republicans did fairly well questioning him, because you need a question on how he judged the cases. You don't question him on future cases or how he will judge or will he repeal or stuff like that. It's how was his character
prior to the hearing
while he was judging. Yeah. It's not some fictional judging some fictional case that may or may never enter the Supreme Court. So and then Cory Booker declared he was Spartacus for some reason. Yeah, that's recent. That just came, I believe, over the weekend. That he released some documents that were, according to him, that were not released yet. So he released them, and he was saying that that's basically his Spartacus moment. That if he loses his his position in Senate for releasing documents that were not to be released, that's his Spartacus moment, because that means he'll lose his seat, and that's fine, that he's fine with it. But little did he know that hours before he released it, they were released. So he basically re-released what he released, what the committee had already released.
The Judicial Committee.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what he did was basically pointless.
A bunch of grandstanding.
Yeah, that's all it was. That's all the Democrats were doing. Kamala Harris, like Cory Booker, like Dianne Feinstein, obviously, and so many others that don't come to mind, that I can't remember their names. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of grandstanding from the Democrats.
Yeah, I Googled Brett Kavanaugh hearing, and this interesting little piece came up on CNN. A Parkland survivor was invited.
Oh, yeah. Gutenberg.
What? Blumenthal. Richard Blumenthal was a senator that had a conversation with Elijah Eastman. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Oh, okay. You're saying about it.
I just want to read this exchange.
I didn't hear this.
So Blumenthal asked,
okay, go for it.
If I were Judge Kavanaugh, who, as you know, said that assault weapons should not be banned, cannot be banned, under the Constitution, Second Amendment of the Constitution, what would you say to him? Eastman, the student, I don't know, current student or former student, I don't know, but student, that my life, along with all the other youth, is more important than that gun. Blumenthal. And if he said to you, you know there's...
Wait, repeat that?
Repeat all of it? Just what Eastman said.
Yeah,
okay.
What Eastman said.
She said, she would say to Judge Kavanaugh that her life, along with all the other youth, is more important than that gun. The gun that shouldn't be banned. And then Blumenthal.
Okay.
And if he said to you, you know there is this legal principle that says unless there was a ban or one analogous to it at the time of our Constitution or traditionally in our law, what would you say about the real impact of that kind of assault weapon on your life? Which basically means unless it happened at the Constitution or a while ago, like it would have no impact. Eastman
Yeah.
said, yeah, it's unimaginable. The shooter at my school shot 34 kids in under 6 minutes, and that gun ended 17 lives on February 14th. That gun ended lives at Sandy Hook. That gun ended lives all over the country, and there's mass shootings that happen almost every month. And I believe that that gun needs to be banned, any assault rifle. And he needs to listen to us because our lives are just as important as any American's freedom to own a gun. I mean, okay, I get it. She suffered through a tragedy that I, hopefully, God willing, will never have to. But
Yeah.
that's just not gonna work. I mean, plus, what does this have to do with Kavanaugh's hearing? Right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I mean, Blumenthal basically said to whoever was there.
It's because Kavanaugh is a constitutional. He's a constitutionalist.
Yeah.
He's gonna interpret the law. He's not gonna make the law, and that's what has Democrats riled up, because they want people in the Supreme Court that will write law instead of judge whether something is constitutional or
Exactly.
not.
Yes. Yeah, Blumenthal
And-
basically told everyone, hey, look, Kavanaugh is not going to try to repeal the Second Amendment. Or he wouldn't say, oh, well, banning assault weapons is constitutional. And then he had a conversation with Eastman, which basically said nothing. I mean, if I don't blame Eastman for wanting to ban guns. I mean, I understand why she would want to. I wouldn't want to. I don't want to. So, and plus this has nothing to do with the hearing. It's just some more grandstanding. Just trying to earn some political points before a midterm.
Yeah. Okay. That's all it is. That's all they're trying to do, because they know they can't. They can't do it. They can't do anything to stop Kavanaugh from being pushed through. Because, if they don't get this, if they don't stop this, basically Republicans could just run a nuclear option. And
yeah, and
what was that?
Oh no, nothing. And
yeah, they could just run nuclear option, and that'll be it. He'll still make it into Congress.
Supreme Court.
There you go, Supreme Court. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they did it for Gorsuch, so it's already an option. They don't need to do anything. They don't need to restart the thing.
Harry Reid did it. Well, not did it, but he talked about it in when he was there, right? When he was the leader, the majority leader, and he was saying that if we do it now, it's gonna come back to bite us in the butt. And dun dun, we're here.
Yeah.
All right, I want to. So you were talking about Eastman. Did you hear about Fred Gutenberg's incident? No. Okay, so another Parkland. Okay, so the Parkland, the father of a Parkland victim. I'll just say victim because I'm not sure if he was just shot or if he was killed. But the father, Fred Gutenberg, father of Jamie Gutenberg. Oh yeah, he was killed. Jamie Gutenberg was killed in the Parkland shooting. So Fred Gutenberg goes up at the end of a session, and I think it's like at the end of I think they're gonna take a little break or something. But anyways, Kavanaugh had gotten up, and Fred Gutenberg basically sort of rushes like to the front to like shake his hand, to shake Brett Kavanaugh's hand, and to basically just introduce himself. That's what they're running. And so Kavanaugh turns around and like freaks out. Well, not freaks out, but just looks at him like, I don't know who you are. And then security gets in the way. And Kavanaugh just walks out without shaking the hand. And so after this, Fred Gutenberg tweets out. He's checked. He's verified on Twitter for some reason. But anyways, he walks out, quote, he tweets out, quote, just walked up to Judge Kavanaugh as morning session ended. Put out my hand to introduce myself as Jamie Gutenberg's dad. He pulled his hand back, turned his back to me, and walked away. I guess he did not want to deal with the reality of gun violence, end quote. And that little incident got so many plays on CNN and tweets from liberals and leftists that were talking about thoughts and prayers and tolerance, and they're just basically trying to again grandstand. Well, not really grandstand because it was going on Twitter, but they're basically just trashing Kavanaugh for doing that. But I mean, if someone comes up to you and you don't know who they are, and they attempt to shake your hand, and you see security coming out to like cover you so you can walk away, what do? You don't shake the hand, you just walk away, right? I mean, but they were trying to make this a huge deal about how he doesn't want to deal with gun violence and all of that. Which, what's it called? I mean, it was even said, what was it? Feinstein and Gutenberg had said, Feinstein had invited Gutenberg to do this, basically. And then Gutenberg tweets out before the session starts that he was invited, that he's going to do some kind of spectacle. And that's what he did. He gave out the hand, and Kavanaugh basically just turned around because he didn't know who Gutenberg was. And so he walked away, and it created this big mess, according to the Democrats.
Yeah, I just found this video on YouTube, and
yeah,
while I mean I can see why Gutenberg, that's his name, would think wrong about it.
Yeah,
I mean, from the back, it looks like Kavanaugh just walked away, like from where Gutenberg's standing. Yeah. But the first angle that it shows is from the angle opposite of Gutenberg. And so Gutenberg approaches Kavanaugh ahead of the security man. And the security has to like walk, I call it walking with purpose. So like walk quickly. And he
obviously he's a security man. He's a security guard.
Yeah, without hesitation, he gets Kavanaugh and starts to like, urge him to walk away. So you can say that Kavanaugh didn't want to talk, but more likely, he was confused. He's like, who are you? Like, I'm sure Gutenberg tried to introduce himself, but that's besides the point. I mean, that doesn't mean that Kavanaugh automatically knows and is comfortable with him. And so him walking away isn't necessarily a bad thing, I would say.
Yeah, it's...
This is fun.
It's pure... Yeah, it's just pure... And we're back.
And, well, I see you want to go over Beto, Rourke, and Cruz. But real quick, one last point on Kavanaugh. CNN Politics says, Kavanaugh won't discuss his personal views on gay marriage. And then, that's the headline. And then it's...
Good.
3 paragraphs, which is basically 4 sentences. Judge Brett Kavanaugh would not reveal his personal views on gay marriage, repeatedly rebuffing the query, I hate reading that word, query, from Senator Cory Booker, and referring to Supreme Court
Quarry?
Who? Cory Booker.
Quarry?
Curie.
No,
like
quarry instead of query?
Like a question. I don't know.
Like eerie, but airy, no. Like The Office? In the deposition episode?
We're not going to discuss The Office on this show. Okay, we will talk about that for an hour. Okay, I'm referring to Supreme Court precedent. He also said he had never officiated a gay wedding. I don't know why that's important. And here's what Kavanaugh said. I am a judge. I apply the law, he said. The law of the land protects that right as dictated by the Supreme Court precedent. Which basically means, look, it's been decided. It's not up to me to decide it anymore.
Yeah.
Like this is my biggest thing with telling people like, oh, I want to get into politics. Because like as a Christian, people are always like, oh, really? Well, how do you feel about gay marriage, and how do you feel about drug use, and how do you feel about a bunch of abortion? Yes, and it's like, I get it. Like a lot of people use religion in their politics, and I somewhat do. But when I do, I try to back it with some secular stuff or some law, or Supreme Court precedent, like he said. Logic, yes. And if I can't, if it's something purely religious, I'm not going to combine it with my political view. I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to support it personally, but I'm not going to say that it should be banned across the nation.
It's a good thing because this whole thing that he didn't speak about his thoughts on gay marriage, or what was it?
His personal views.
His personal views. Yeah, he's not there to talk about personal views. He's there to be judged on whether or not he's been a reliable judge or a good judge, in that his character is not his character. How would you say it?
He's there to see
what?
If he would be, I don't know, I guess just a good justice.
A consistent. I guess it would be
consistent, fair, open-minded.
He's there to judge cases. He's not there to write law. His opinions should be left in a box in his office, and he should go out and put on the black robe and judge the cases of by what the law
exactly.
says.
And
it has nothing to do with his opinions.
And I would get if one of the senators was like, would you let your personal views on gay marriage affect the way you judge a case, or affect the way you decide a case? And if he says no, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, that's your answer. You can't just badger him. I don't know the circumstances of the statement, but just putting it out there, you can't badger someone into giving you the answer that you want them to answer to make them look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think that's one reason why I wouldn't make such a good politician. I mean, I could talk politics, and I could talk. Well, yeah. You know what I mean. I mean, I could. We
have our political views that we don't mind discussing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't make a very good politician, because I have a feeling that, because a lot of what I believe is on politics is also followed by by my Christian views, like about abortion, about gay marriage, about so many things that we could talk about separation of church and state, about which that's a good thing, but I would I have a feeling that would also interfere with what I could say. But of course, I have to follow the law, so it would just be very murky for me.
So, I mean, with our already low viewer listener numbers, let's go ahead and possibly lose some.
Let's just get banned by YouTube already. I mean,
if you had the chance.
That we could have that, we could just walk around with that pride that we got banned by YouTube because we're Christians and we're conservatives. And,
hold on.
And
if you had,
and because we support Brett Kavanaugh, and
if you had the chance to de-legalize gay marriage, you would?
it's that's that's a tough issue because I'm not. It should be down to the
Okay.
states. It should be left to the
Okay. I'm
states.
I'm just asking because you said like your like political views reflect your Christian views. So I just wanted to like put that out there because like I personally don't support gay marriage, but I have
Yeah, of course. I don't either. But the thing is, if okay, so one thing, the federal government should stay out of marriage. Period.
yeah, but I mean
Just flat out. That's my
they're
view.
they're
That
they're too far. What? They're far in too deep. I don't know. I those four words I can't put them in the right order. Um, they're
yeah.
already in too deep, so they can't get out. Like at least not in a way. At
But
least not in
fine.
a way that would
Whatever.
uh help anything or help anyone.
Yeah. Well, whatever they did, they
Yeah.
did. Okay. But the thing is, the states need should be able to say they should be able to say I don't again and then this goes into should the states legalize gay marriage if they want to fine, let's put that out first. If they want to fine, go ahead. I don't agree with what you're doing, but you know what, you're the states, you're the government, you do what you want to do. And so it me personally, if I were a what do you call it? The people that marry people.
Minister.
Sure, let's go with that term. I think there's an actual term.
So someone that's ordained
If
or
I
something.
was
I don't
an
know. There you
ordained
go.
minister, there you go. I would not. Me personally, I would not marry a gay
Okay.
couple, lesbian couple, trans, whatever down that rabbit hole you
Well,
want to
yeah.
go.
Neither would I. But I mean, now we're getting into like personal views, and personal views is not what I want. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
personal
the
views are not
issue.
what I want to discuss. Political views are what I want to discuss.
Oh, of
Like,
course not.
I
But
get.
that's the issue because if you go in and if you end up going into, you see, that's the issue with topics like gay marriage and well, gay marriage just I think that's one of the only topics. But that's the issue because from there, if you say the government should stay out of marriage, well then, how far do you need to go to find someone that will marry you?
Exactly. Yeah.
You get me?
And here's my biggest issue with that. When it comes to the groups of people that are considered the protected class, so racial minorities, ethnic minorities, um, sexual minorities, sexual orientation minorities. Um, I think that stuff. While my I'm predisposed to say, let the states handle it. Once it's considered, once it's dealt with by the federal government, I think reversing that would be problematic.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's
that's the
that's
thing.
that's my biggest issue with pretty much anything. Apart from slavery, which was the right decision, the federal
Of
government
course.
stepping in definitely was the right decision. But stuff like gay marriage and wow, that's really the only thing I can think of right now. That's pretty much the only thing that has to do with a minority civil rights. As far as I know,
Issue.
if one of our listeners wants to give us other ideas on Reddit or Twitter, that'd be great. As far as that,
Or in the YouTube comment section. Either
yeah,
one.
or YouTube. That's right. Um, if I think the states would have all eventually, even Texas and Mississippi and Alabama would have legalized it. It would have taken substantially longer. But I think even conservative states like Texas and Mississippi and Alabama progress with social issues.
Yeah.
It would have probably taken longer than, I mean, even I would be comfortable with. Um, Simply because I have a more libertarian view on that type of stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm conservative on that type of stuff and libertarian. So let them do whatever they want. If they want to marry, I mean, they're a protected class. You shouldn't hold them against them. Besides that, I mean, why stop them? They're gonna be living together anyway, so there's no reason not to let them. Um,
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, now with the state being the government, the state getting involved in marriage and stuff, there's plenty of benefits that would help, adoption, sharing insurance, um, stuff like that. Uh, Having to do with like stuff having to do with income and like cars, stuff like that. Like with the amount of involvement the federal government has had, or just government in general has had in marriage, it's unfair to discriminate. You get me? And
Yeah,
so
I get you.
with
Okay.
so it would have taken longer than I wanted it to, but I still think it would have been. So I think Obergefell and Hodges, which is the gay marriage one, shouldn't have been decided the way it was, strictly speaking constitutionally. But since it was, we can't reverse it. Like it it would be wrong to. It would be more. I think it would be morally wrong to reverse that decision, and it would result in just awful circumstances for people that had advanced in their lives, for it to be reversed the way it would be. You you get me?
Yeah, I get you. I don't know. I would need a. 'Cause to be honest, I don't know very much about that case, so I don't want to have an opinion of something that I'm not familiar with.
Yes, hold on. And let me stop you right there. The only part of that case that I'm saying was decided wrong necessarily was the fact that no states could have DOMA acts, which is defense of marriage, so male and female. The part that was decided correctly was the part that forced states to recognize licensed marriages from other states, which some states weren't doing,
Yeah,
which they should have been doing because the Constitution explicitly
the whole
says that contracts and debts and any legal government papers that are valid in Maine
yeah,
are valid in California and Florida and Texas and everywhere. So that part,
yeah. That whole full
yes,
faith
that's
clause. I think I'm butchering the title of that, but
full,
it's
full faith and full faith
somewhere
and
along
credit.
those lines.
Yes,
And
thank you
credit,
for saying
credit.
that, because I specifically chose not to try to say that because I had forgotten what it was called. But their decision on that was absolutely correct. It was the other
Yeah.
part that I disagreed with, but now I would absolutely refuse to take away.
Okay, so then my question to you would be: Would not necessarily, not necessarily would you, but should the Supreme Court, as it stands right now, dial the back that whole no, because never mind, because then I know where you're coming from, so never mind, scratch that. I'm not gonna bother
Well,
asking
at least
that.
raise the question so our listeners can know what you're gonna say.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you, should then should it's because I want to word it
Okay.
correctly. I want to get it right.
Okay, and if I've already asked it, I mean, if I've already answered it, um, don't change your wording to try to get me to explain more. That'll just add some time. That'll just add
Yeah,
some time to this
I
podcast
think
episode.
you answered it enough you've answered it the way you're probably gonna answer it right now. Okay, but just to get it out there, because I know it's probably not how I wanna lay it out. But would you dial back? Yeah, I think dial back would be the right term. Would you dial back the whole legalization? The passing of the gay marriage issue. Would you dial it back to the states, or would you keep it up at the federal level, the way it is right now? I think you already answered it, so that's how come I was kind of iffy on to ask you it. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure I answered it. Now my reasons to don't exactly satisfy myself. Personally, I would like to.
Of course.
But because of the way the states would be, and because of the thousands of lawsuits that would result,
of course,
it would be impractical
to do it.
Yes, it would be impractical to a degree that I don't think it's worth it to try to fight it, because it will make it back to the Supreme Court and it'll be decided the same way. And if Kavanaugh gets there and he's like, nope, let's go ahead and send it back to the states, eventually there's going to be at least even split with a moderate that will agree, and it'll be flipped back. So yeah, I don't think it should be sent back, primarily for practical reasons, and that's my least favorite reason to give, because I don't think practicality matters with constitutionality. But that's just the way we live. That's the world we live in right now. And so I have to be satisfied with my practical reason for this.
We dove into politics way deeper than I expected in this episode.
I said, all right, we're talking about Beto and Cruz in a bit, and then 15 minutes later, we're talking about our personal views on gay marriage.
Yeah. All right, so changing gears, Beto and Cruz, Texas Senate race. Thoughts?
Okay. I want Cruz to win.
Let's start off with this. Hold on.
Spoiler alert, I want Cruz to win.
Okay. How many debates do you think there will be?
Man.
A&E, town halls, and legit debates.
Man, I'm not sure.
Because there's already been somewhat of a apparently O'Rourke denied. Beto. I'll say Beto.
You can say
to keep it consistent.
Or Beto, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's the same guy. So Beto apparently denied to a debate last Friday, I believe it was, but then his campaign team came out with something that they're trying to decide along with the Cruz campaign on stuff like moderators and venues and all of that. So apparently there was supposed to be one on Friday. Apparently there wasn't. I don't know. It's murky. But I want to ask, how many, as of today, from today all the way to Election Day, how many do you think?
From today until Election Day. So Election Day is consistent with the presidential election, right? So the second Tuesday of November?
Yes.
Which gives us 2 months. I think... Now here's the thing. Beto, I'm going to call him O'Rourke because I like referring to people as their last name. So O'Rourke.
Yeah.
He has to know whether or not he has a chance to win this seat. Now, normally...
I think he does. Well, I think he thinks he does.
That's the thing, because I'm pretty sure if this was any other year, any other election cycle, the Democrat would not think they had a chance to win.
Yeah,
I
I agree
I
with you on
think
that.
O'Rourke thinks he has a chance to win, and he does. I actually think he does. I'm not sure if he will, but he has a chance. And because of that, I think there will be more debates than usual. I don't know how many there usually are. I would assume not very many, considering I think the Democrats usually think they're going to lose. Anyways, I think there would be probably between 3 and 4. I mean, in 2 months, that's one every 2 weeks, if it's four, which would seem like a lot. But if O'Rourke thinks he has a fighter's chance to win, then he would be trying. Him and his team would be trying to get as many debates as possible to sway both moderates that are upset with Trump, Republicans that are upset with Trump, and Democrats that think that he's not going to win. Because there are some that are like, man, this is a red state. No way he's going to win. But if he
Yeah.
can have these debates and convince Democratic voters that normally would be apathetic to a Texas Senate race to think O'Rourke has a chance, because listen to everything he's saying. He's so much better. Like, he's increasing in the polls. In the polls. Wow, I just realized that sounded weird when I said poll. Um, then, I think
Did you sorry? Did you
yes, I
just
did.
hear that? You heard R2 in the
Yes.
background? Yeah, sorry. It's a notification ringtone I have, and it just went off. I thought I have Bluetooth on, so it's connected to my headset. I thought it was gonna ring just in the Bluetooth in the headset, but apparently it rang also. So let me silence that. Go.
I'm gonna assume you're gonna keep this in, but I was just gonna blow through it,
Yeah.
considering I thought you were gonna just mute that like 3/4 of a second.
No,
All right.
go for
Anyways,
it.
I think there will be probably 3 or 4 debates, considering he probably thinks he has a chance to win. Now, if Cruz thinks he has a chance to lose, I think he'll accept them, and I think there will be 3 or 4. If Cruz thinks he has no chance of losing, he might accept 1 or 2, just to try to make O'Rourke look, incompetent, which would be a good idea if he thought he was gonna win anyway. So yeah, it depends on whether or not each of them thinks the other person has a chance to win, or whether or not they both think O'Rourke has a chance to win.
Yeah, I think Cruz will debate no matter what, just because it's good press, it's good publicity.
You're right. I hadn't considered that.
Cruz will debate no matter what. I'll give you that. O'Rourke, on the other hand, is more of a is an if for me. I'll say there'll be between 1 to 3
Between 1 and
debates.
3. All right, so I'm saying 3 or 4, depending on if O'Rourke thinks he can win.
I don't think there'll be 4
No?
debates. I do not think. I'm very confident there will not be 4 debates.
Well, yeah,
I'm a little less confident there will be 3 debates. I don't think 3 debates will happen, but I'm just throwing out that number
okay.
just to give both candidates some leeway as to for them wanting to come to the table and talk it
Yeah,
out.
I said
There will be 1, 2. If there decides to be a 3rd debate, that'll be a miracle. But there's going to be 1 or 2. I'll give you that.
I only said 4 because I said 3, and I didn't want to say an exact number and then be wrong. So I said, 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the thing that has O'Rourke going, well, given that Cruz is in D.C. at this time, but I think what O'Rourke has going for him is the fact that he's traveling a lot. He's said that he's been at every single Texas county, or he's visiting every single Texas county. I don't know if he has already. If he has, wow. But if he hasn't, he's on his way to doing that. He's visiting every single Texas county to put out his message. And I honestly, I'm scared to think, I'm scared to acknowledge the fact that O'Rourke has a chance of winning.
See, here's the thing. I think he has a chance to win, but I'm not scared that he might because, I mean, especially for Senate races, especially for midterms, Republicans in Texas have a habit of getting complacent. So,
Yeah.
as much as I would hate to see Cruz lose, Cruz lose, as much as I'd hate to see that, I think it would be a good wake up call to the Republicans to be like, hey, Democrats exist in your state. I don't personally know enough of O'Rourke's positions. I know he's no Ocasio or Cortez, which is good. So I mean,
I would say he's somewhere at the border. He's very close to jumping into that lake.
See, well, I mean, a lot of people.
He's close.
Okay, a lot of people are close, but being close isn't the same as being in. Like,
oh, of course it's not.
There's an amount of.
I'm pretty sure with a nudge, just tapping him on the shoulder will cause him to fall into the lake, and we have an Alexandria Googleize Cortez to steal Andrew Clavin's name for her nickname.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like it. Alexandria Googleize Cortez. Cause, dude, have you seen pictures of and memes and photos and all of that of like when she widens her eyes, dude?
Yes,
oh my
I have,
gosh,
and let's not digress into.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. No, it's not an attack. It's just
an attack.
An acknowledgement. Like, man, what'd you say?
It's not an insult if it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, technically you're right, but again, let's not digress too far. Yeah, I don't know enough of O'Rourke's personal views to have a definitive say as to whether or not he would be detrimental to the country.
I'll give you this. He has open borders. That's the one giant issue I have with him.
Okay.
Open borders.
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm not...
What?
The House is not going to turn Democrat this midterm.
You
I don't
think?
So. Not the House. I don't think there's enough Republicans that would lose their seat for it to flip. So I'm not concerned on stuff like open borders. Well, actually, I shouldn't be concerned on anything. But there are some things that I would be concerned on more. Plus, Trump wouldn't sign anything like that. And see, open borders isn't something that is held only by what you and I would consider unreasonable or irrational people. Like, I know a handful of reasonable people that are for open borders.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the people that are doing that are not good people, but
but like, I'm not saying that either. But let's bring it back. I'm saying, like, that wouldn't disqualify him for me thinking he can be good for the country. Because, look, open borders is not going to happen. Probably at all, ever. And I'm pretty sure Democrats know that. That they, at least the ones that are currently sitting, at least the bigger name ones, I know they say it for virtue signaling. I'm pretty sure O'Rourke believes it, which there's a difference. And so, people like, do you know any open border senators or?
Your typical big names. Pelosi,
okay, Pelosi. Let's use Pelosi. I'm not sure. someone like Pelosi believes in open borders as much as someone like O'Rourke. Okay? So her deciding to attach to that, even though I'm not sure, but I don't think she believes in it, makes me less likely to support her as a member of the opposite party as much as I would support O'Rourke. Cause look,
Okay,
cause
I
look,
get you.
I support many things. I support a handful of things that I know would never be passed. For some odd reason, none of them come to mind right now. If they do, I'll, I don't know, I'll probably tweet it or something. But I support at least one or two, probably a handful of things that I know would never pass. But my supporting it and actually supporting it and not using it to virtue signal would that would be a reason for me to compromise.
Yeah,
And
I get you.
and I know that some current legislators actually believe in open borders, and so that's why they didn't want to vote with the Republicans. But let's not act like some of them were only using it to virtue signal.
Oh, of course not. I think a majority of them, especially in the border
Exactly.
states, I think uh, a majority of the senators and House members, especially from the border states, are using it to gain that
Voting block.
that
Yeah.
voting block, because it just
And
goes back and forth. But yeah, it's
and it happens both ways. I mean, let's not act like every Republican is for fiscal responsibility. We saw the
oh, of course.
omnibus.
Oh, of course not.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why there's a bunch of Republicans where I'm like, I don't support them as much as I want to. And so, someone like O'Rourke, someone who I think actually believes in his stuff, makes me think that he would compromise to a greater extent that someone that I believe would be detrimental to this country would.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
that
Yeah, I get you.
and so that's why I'm not concerned if he wins for two reasons. One, because I think he believes what he believes and he would be more open to compromise and he would be more willing to say, okay, well, if I don't get if I don't get 100% of what I want, you don't get 100% of what you want, but our voters seem to want this, then let's go for it. He comes off as that person. I don't know. He comes off as that person. I believe he would be that person. I hope he is if he does win. That and the fact that it would be a wake up call to Republicans is why I'm not afraid of him winning.
Okay, yeah, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. I don't know.
Don't
I
don't get
don't
me
know.
wrong.
It's
I don't
just
want him to win,
what. Oh, of
but
course not. I'm saying that too. I don't want him to
but I,
win.
I'm not
But
threatening.
I think he's more approachable. I think he would be willing to come to the table and talk it
Exactly.
out. What can we both get that benefits the
Exactly.
people?
I would talk to him and actually discuss his politics because I'm actually interested in like what he has to say. He seems like someone that genuinely believes what he thinks. I'm not gonna threaten to move to Alabama because O'Rourke wins a seat. I'm not gonna threaten to move to
Yeah.
Mexico, um, Canada or somewhere in the EU. Um, I'm
Good God.
of course, I don't want him to win, but I'm not convinced that it would be the worst thing for him to win.
Okay. I I think a lot of that would be because he'd be in the Senate. So in a way, sorry about that. Got a frog caught in my throat. I think because he'd be in the Senate, and in a way he is talking about stuff that would affect us, but he's over there. He's away from Texas, so like that's some. Now, if he were running for governor, I think that is a total different
Yes.
story.
Yes. I would be very, very displeased if Texas got a Republican governor.
Republican?
Sorry, Democratic.
We already have one.
You're right.
Hello, great
Yeah, my
appetite.
bad. I misspoke. If Texas voted a Democrat into the governorship, I would be very concerned. But again, because you said, like you pointed out, which actually does make a lot of sense, because he's a legislator, and it's more difficult for him to enact anything that he would want without support from a lot of people.
Both sides, or yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, at least a lot of people, at most both sides. I'm less concerned. I mean, where we're from, our district has voted Democrat for as long as I know.
For like
Yeah.
ever?
And I don't care. Like, I think that's good. I think at least it shows that people there, want to vote. I don't mean I don't care, like, it's whatever. I don't care, like, I'm not upset about it. Like, it's a way of life.
Yeah, it's something you expect.
I
I
would still vote Republican, but not because I think he has a shot, but because that's my civil duty. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, if there's any way we could turn our district purple, that'd be awesome. But it's not going to turn purple. It's just going to stay
There is a
blue.
way to do it. I
How?
truly believe there's a way to get the Latino community to be
Oh, of course
to
there
vote
is.
Republican.
But when the Latino community, this is not to diss. Well, I'm Latino, so I have that
You're right.
Latino card. But
It's not racism if it's your people.
if it's
Your
your own
Uncle
race,
Tom.
yeah. The the thing is, when all we listen to is the news from Univision, for Telemundo, and then CNN and MSNBC, and all we're getting is that Trump wants to deport immigrants, not even illegal immigrants, right? Because they always just say immigrants
Yeah.
in general. When that's all the news we get, we're more inclined to be like, no, we're gonna vote for the people that apparently want us in this country.
Yeah, and I don't.
So
I
mean,
don't hold ill
if we
will.
could
All right.
hold on.
My bad.
Huh?
Like, I don't hold ill will towards the Latinos that think like that.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. I don't hold ill will to them at all. But the thing is, when that's all they get, because it's so abundant as compared to conservative media, I guess you could say, when there's not a lot of conservative media down here, then there is no other piece, there is no other view than that of a Democrat.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There's no denying that there is a vocal racist part of the Republican Party. Voters. And that's why a lot of the language used, not racist per se, but can be read as racist. You get me?
Yeah.
So, like, saying we need to deport all illegal immigrants immediately. I mean, that's good for a vocal part of your voter base that probably won't, change the results of an election, except for...
Okay, hold on. Let me interrupt right now.
All right,
Real quick. Before I lose this thought. If I could get it back again.
Before I lose it, although I already lost it, so...
Yeah. All right, just keep
All right.
going. I lost it. I'll see if I can get it
So,
back right now.
there's a way to word that to...
Okay, I got it back. Be quiet. Hold on. Give me a second. You see, one of my thoughts is that I guess you could call it a theory on why Republicans don't fare so well typically in like midterms or like like it's very iffy. We're always so iffy on, and we're always called out the bad people, even though. Anyways, is that our ideas are good, but the way we go about saying it, like, okay, I know Trump's president, so I want to use him as an example.
And there are plenty of examples for exactly what you just said to use with Trump.
Yeah. So to paraphrase Trump, deport illegal immigrants immediately. Well, immediately, that's like, well, dale gas, throw everyone out.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, throw everyone out, throw the baby out with the bathwater. So,
I've never heard that saying. No.
Really?
Continue, though.
Wow.
Don't let me distract you.
Yeah, so it's like, we just have a bad way of rolling stuff out. At least this current administration does. The tax cuts were rolled out terribly.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. I'll give you that. They are great. I'm glad we got tax cuts. But the way it was presented was not it was easy for everyone to twist it into what about the whole 1% and tax breaks for the rich and all of that stuff. So our ideas are okay. It's just the way we present those ideas throws people off.
And we've actually been doing this for quite a while. This will be our longest episode yet.
Oh yeah.
So
we're going on an hour 18 minutes?
Yeah. So before we finish, I do want to say the biggest thing. I was gonna say a different point on how to get the votes, but it's all right. That's not as vital as what I just thought of right now. In my opinion, is that the Democratic Party specifically, not exclusively, has ingrained it into the mind of Latinos and minorities in general that they are victims of a corrupt and racist system.
Yeah.
And to tell a person, a minority, I hate to generalize, but that's the way it is. To tell a minority, hey, it's not everyone else's fault. Okay. I mean, you have setbacks, but in today's day and age, there are ways to overcome any setback. I mean,
yeah.
You can't imagine how many times I've Googled free and then any other word in this past 4 weeks for classes. I mean, there's countless resources everywhere, especially now. I mean, in the past, it might have been a little different, but now, in today's age of technology, there are ways to overcome substantial obstacles. And though we might not manage to be as rich as the 1%, I mean, I don't plan on being as rich as Donald Trump.
And, okay, but the thing is, for those people that don't know, the 1% is always fluctuating.
Yeah.
The 1%, sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever be in it because, well, we're not all that great people. Well, as in, like, money people.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Which is why I changed it from 1% to Donald Trump. Just in case you caught that. The reason, like, I don't plan on being as high as Donald Trump. But I'm not thinking exclusively for myself. I'm not going to say, well, I can't be, a reality show host turned president of the United States. But, I mean, is that a bad thing? Is it so bad that I won't be as high as the top? I mean, people say you need to sacrifice stuff for your kids. How about, instead of blaming other people because you're not the top, making your way to the middle, or trying to make your way to the middle, giving your kids a better start.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you have
this
people have to recognize that wealth is not created instantly. It's a process. So you could start off to give a simple example. You could start off with $5 and you'll leave your kids with $10. Your kids start off with 10 and then they leave their kids 20, and it's just going to grow like that. If you know how to manage life wisely.
exactly, and the Democrats, again, not exclusively, are saying you have five and you're going to end up with 10, and that's a bad thing. But it's I don't think it.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's this whole thing that, and it's also this whole thing of the tax cuts. Going back to the tax cuts. It's this whole thing that, well, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. That's not necessarily true, because the rich are getting richer. Fine. But the middle class is moving up. The poor are also getting richer.
If there's ever a time in history to be poor, it's now.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much opportunity that while there may be obstacles, there are not obstacles that can't be overcome. So I think, going back to why I originally started this, to get, I would say our district, but Latinos in general, to not so much start voting Republican, because I don't think they will, but to at least consider.
And we have to I want to preface real quick that there are Latino Republicans. There are a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
But there's just a whole bunch more that are Democrat.
The majority vote
as simple
Democrat.
as that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, to turn the voter block over, or the African American voter block over. The way to do this would be to convince the minority voting bloc that their victimhood that they feel is a mentality that has been placed on them by, a Republican would say, the Democrats. And it wouldn't, and the Republicans ideally would say, you don't get out of there through what the Democrats want to do, which is government assistance. You get out of there through the opportunities that are going to be available because I limited regulations, because I allowed you to pay people less because you weren't making money, or because you don't need to have 20-foot doors. That's not a regulation. I think it's like 8 feet or something, but you don't need to have a certain height building or certain width or certain space for amount of people.
Yeah.
If Republicans can be able to, and this is the way you said it, to express what their ideas are, to show the benefits that they would have, then that would be instrumental in changing the voter bloc over to Republican. But they can't, so they won't.
Yeah, but a lot of that also is they could express all they want. Republicans could express all they want as precisely, as perfectly as they can. But if all you're getting is a twist on it, a negative twist on it from
CNBC.
CNN, MSNBC, NBC, to say both because they're different programs, but they're still the same kind of person, same kind of company type of thing. I don't know how that really works. Anyways, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC News, CBS, any Democratic platform media you could think of, and of course they're gonna say, "Well, we're not Democratic. We're unbiased." And all that. Whatever. No, you're not. You are Democratic.
Get to your point.
You are a left.
Get to your point.
Huh? Okay, so if going back to my point, because I just went on a little tirade. Getting back to my point, if the Republicans could shape it as nice as they want, as precisely as they want, but if all they're getting is a negative lean to it, it's never going to work. because all for us, all Latinos are gonna hear is that negative lean of what the Republicans are saying.
Yes, and
that's all they're gonna hear. And if we don't start looking for other avenues of media, libertarian or conservative, because those are like the only other two. If we don't start looking for those, then we're never gonna be able to hear that other side of the story.
And that brings me to the second most crucial part, which is after you figure out a way to express your ideas, not to rely on the news media to get your views out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to take one smart politician to change Texas's southern border. It's not. It won't happen this voting cycle with a really good politician. It won't happen in the next 3 voting cycles with a politician that knows how to express their ideas in a way to present it in a manner that would make the Latinos believe that it's beneficial to them. But after a while, if they're able to go and actually have conversations with people and actually show them, look, this is your life right now, but these other circumstances could be the circumstances of your life. I mean, doesn't this sound better? They could probably say yes. They could probably say you're lying. I wouldn't know. But there would be people that say, what you offer is better. And there will be people that say what you offer is worse. But there will be, man, like,
that difference.
It will be like, man, I never heard this. I was always told that what you want is the exact opposite. What you want is to get rid of me and my family. That's what I've always heard. And so it would take a dedicated team of people that understand the voter base, that actually believe these views, not just would spew it, like so many politicians do, to go down, have personal interactions with millions of people to actually change this.
And this is
not impossible, very improbable, but not impossible.
And to sidebar right here, this is what I find so interesting about Turning Point USA. You know them, right? Charlie Kirk. Yeah. And that's what I find so amazing with what they've been able to do, especially with the black community, on how he got Candace Owens, who was a liberal, who was verging on leftist. I'm not sure. Check out, if you want more on Candace Owens, check out her interview with Dave Ruben on the Ruben Report. That you can know more of her story. But she was a Democrat.
We're just one giant advertisement for these other conservative podcasts.
Dave Rubin is a classical liberal.
Difference.
The tent stretched out far enough to where we could basically call him a Republican, a conservative. But yeah, so she's one great example of how looking at another way she's a great example of someone that was able to choose her own life and what she wanted to believe in.
Exactly.
And of course, the facts help her. Looking at the facts helps her solidify her views. And that's how she's been able to get a lot of her own community, a lot of the blacks to a lot of, wow, that sounds so racist. A lot of her people.
Oh, that sounds even worse.
Okay, well, anyways, it's helped her get her community to think for themselves. Yeah. And so we do need a good amount of conservative Latinos that believe that yes, we need to be able to pull ourselves up from our, what is it? From our bootstraps, I think the saying goes. We basically need to pull ourselves up, and we know that maybe our life we're still going to struggle in our life, but at least the life of our kids will get better. And if we teach them our values and allow them to think for themselves as well, the life of their kids will get better. And that's how we raise ourselves out of this sinkhole that we've dug ourselves into. I don't know how to
this constant
out of this mess that we dug.
this constant democratic voting cycle that we seem to be stuck in.
But I mean, if we don't think for ourselves, then we're just gonna believe anything that goes on, anything that's that's said to us. So I mean, it's really up to the individual to determine their own conclusions.
Yeah. Well, we could go on for a lot more, talking about how we would fix politics, but this seems like a good place to stop.
All right.
So, thank you all for listening. This has been Simply Podcasting. I realized we didn't introduce ourselves. I mean, this many episodes in. What is it, 6, 7? 6, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully you would know who we are. I'm Jacob Hernandez.
And I'm Ruben Hernandez. And check us out on YouTube, Twitter, at Simply Podcasting.
At Simply Podcast.
At Simply Podcast. Right. Yeah.
It's not our... It's not our name of the podcast because that was too many characters for Twitter's limit.
Yeah, so, yeah. What's our Reddit?
Our subreddit is Simply
Reddit
Podcasting. r/Simply Podcasting. That's just the name of our podcast with a small r and a / right in front of it.
All right, and we'll catch you.
Yeah. Let us know what y'all think. If y'all don't like what we're saying and think y'all I'm still texting. If y'all think you are correct and we're wrong, let us know. I would love to be able to change my view with someone's comment. That would actually mean a lot because that showed that, we were engaging enough to have someone convince me. That'd be great. If you agree with me, that's great. Let me know. That would also make me feel good because all I really want is to have a listener base that interacts. That'd be a great thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube, and yeah, don't be afraid to leave us a comment. We'll reach out to y'all. We'll comment back and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Unless for thoughtless replies and comments, we won't ban or mute or block anyone. So, feel free to disagree with us to your heart's content or agree with us to your heart's content. Alright guys, thank y'all for checking us out.